South Africa suffers the highest levels of inequality in the world, and soon companies may be forced to reveal pay gaps between the highest and the lowest paid workers. Now, that's if the new Companies Amendment Bill presented to Parliament is passed. And some executives, we understand, earn over 500,000 rand a day, while other workers earn around 25 rand per day. Well, joining us is Arabo Ewinyu from Wits University's Southern Centre for Inequality Studies, and they made submissions on the bill. Arabo joining me right now for this conversation. Thank you so much for your time, and a very warm good morning to you, Arabo. I think let's get into the data that's before us in as far as the pay gap is concerned. Top executives versus, of course, ordinary workers. These we're talking about some earning as little as 25 rand per day. What have you found there in terms of your data?
Thank you very much. Good morning to Melo and good morning to the rest of your viewers. So following up on these submissions that were made to Parliament and the offer for different stakeholders to come and make submissions, we decided to use some of the publicly available information to report on some of what companies will be required to report on if the bill does come to pass. And we found that comparing the ratio of some of the CEO pay at a monthly level compared to the average earnings, the monthly earnings that Stats SA was reporting on in 2021, we found that there were significant variations ranging from about 450 to about 950 times the average monthly earning. There are also significant variations, so whether it's a state-owned entity or a publicly listed private company, then it mattered a lot. There are also distinctions within sectors, so even within mining, it wasn't that there was a very clear-cut ratio, but there were very high variations as well. And we think that given, just as you mentioned in the opening, that the high inequality, whether by income or wealth distribution, that this is a way to provide information for the various social actors to also provide evidence and agitate for change at the farm level.
Also, when we talk about the different industries where you found this data, you're absolutely right, public knowledge as it is, because oftentimes we see some of the executives when we look at the likes of Standard Bank, MTN being shared and how much they have made in as far as, either salaries or dividends are concerned. But what are some other industries, Arabo, that you have found where top executives are earning exorbitant amounts of money? We're talking here as much as 740,000 rands per day a CEO may be earning.
So we looked at, the data that you're referring to, we looked at mining and manufacturing. So we're looking at the BAT and various NASPAs and different funds, and mostly in the financial services sector. Our sample was restricted to what we could publicly find so that we were not accused of maybe picking and choosing. So we just looked through the press and saw what was available. And I think the findings grossly mirror what the structural transformation that's happened in South Africa. So certain sectors are very financialized, and there are a lot of returns in the financial services sector relative to some of the smaller ones. But unfortunately, we're not able to get pay, for example, in agriculture or in some of the other sectors and compare. But there might be similar differences in earning there as well.
Yeah. Why is this information important? Why is it important to know, but also particularly for shareholders in as far as their engagements in making decisions in the workplace?
It's important to note because funds don't operate in a vacuum. So they operate in a society where there's a very high inequality, and therefore it's important for the different actors, so the individuals within the firm and the ones outside. It's important that we actually start to track how firms are doing over time and to demand for change. We also hope that, the kind of social pressure that this will place on the different companies, that might exert a downward pressure on these high earnings that these executives are paying, and over time that we'll see some of the reduction in this inequality. It's also very important because the labor market is a key site for where inequality manifests itself and where it reproduces itself from one generation to another. So we can't afford to ignore these gross inequalities in pay.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you speaking to us about this. Arabo Ewinyu, thank you so much for your time joining.